Good evening. Shabbat Shalom. Nice to be here with you as we enter Shabbat. So the good news is Shelly does not have COVID. Mm-hmm. That is good news. The bad news is she is still out of commission. She's been flattened by whatever is going around and nailed so many people. So we miss Shelly and wish her all the best on this Shabbat, a healing Shabbat, we pray. And we're going to sing. We're all the cantor tonight. Right. We're going to sing. We are so fortunate to have Michael, who's going to lead us in most ways, and we will also lead each other. So with blessings for Shelly. In a minute, we're going to take a few deep breaths because I don't know about you, but I could use a transition to Shabbat. I knew it was coming. We knew it was coming, but the video of Tyree Nichols being killed is certainly unbearable. So difficult. And the news from Israel that 7 prayers were killed while leaving a Teret Avraham synagogue. Just like us, they were there to pray. They were there for Shabbos. And violence continues to plague that land as it does ours. So before we turn to a nigun, we will get into joy. We will enjoy this Shabbat. But before we sing, let's just have a moment of quiet. Just take a few deep breaths.
Yai da 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 yai da 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 yai da 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 da. There you go. Yai da 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 yai da 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 yai da 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 da.
Welcoming the angels who bless us on Shabbat. We say, Shalom Aleichem, come on in, Bochem l'Shalom, enter. bless us. Please bless us. And as my teacher, Sean Zevit, said, to prove that we are so zen, we're not attached to anything, we let them go. Seidchem l'shalom. Come on in, angels. Give us your blessing. And then we bless you as you go. Page 11.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharim, Malachei Elyon. Melech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem l'shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. Melech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Barkuni l'shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. Melech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Seichem l'shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. Melech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
Sylvie, would you bring your family up so we can light the Shabbos candles?
Ha'olam, Asher Kirshanu b'mitzvotav, V'tzivanu le'adlik ner shel Shabbat. Page 23.
Page 23. There it is.
Shiru Adonai, Shir Chadash, Shiru Adonai, Kol Haaretz, Shiru Adonai, Shir Chadash, Shiru Adonai, Kol Haaretz, Shiru Adonai, Kol Haaretz, Shiru Adonai, Shir Chadash.
29. We'll do just the bolded verses of Lecha Dodi tonight.
Lecha Dodi Likrat Kala Penei Shabbat Mekabela Lecha Dodi Likrat Kala Penei Shabbat Mekabela Shamor וזכור בדיבור אחד ישמיענו אל המיוחד אדוני אחד ושמו אחד שמו תפארת ולתפילה לך דודי לקראת כלה פני שבת מקבלה לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה כי היא מקור הברכה מראש מקדם נסוכה סוף מעשה במחשבה תהילה לך דודי לקראת כלה פני שבת מקבלה התעוררי, התעוררי, כי באורך קומי אורי, 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 שיר דברי, כבוד אדוני עלי נגלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, יאללה, 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 בני שבת מקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, יאללה, 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 בני שבת מקבלה. בואי ושלום עטרת בעלה גם בשמחה ובצהלה תוך אמוני עם סגולה בואי חלה בואי חלה לך דודי לקראת כלה יאללה 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 בני שבת מקבלה לך דודי לקראת כלה יאללה 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 בני שבת מקבלה.
What we're missing in a cantorial voice, we're going to make up with enthusiasm. The only words are ya and la.
Yalla, yalla, la, la, yalla, la, yalla, la. Yalla, yalla, la, la, yalla, la, la, la. Yalla, yalla, la, la, yalla. Lecha dodi, לקראת כלה, yalla, la, yalla, la, yalla, la. בני שבת מקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, יאללה, 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 בני שבת מקבלה.
Page 75.
ברכו את אדוני
another few deep centering breaths before we continue with Shema.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Page 79. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha bechol levavcha uvechol nafshecha uvechol me'odecha vehayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi metzavecha hayom al levavecha veshinantam levanecha Vidibarta bam, Beshivtecha bevetecha, Uvlechtecha vaderech, Uvshochbecha uvkumecha, Ukshartam leot al yadecha, Vehayu letotafot bein einecha, Uchtavtam al mezuzot beitecha, Uvisharecha. Leman tiskeru va'asitem et kol mitzvotai v'hitem kedoshim lelohechem. Ani Adonai Elohechem asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim liot lachem lelohim. Ani Adonai Elohechem. Before we continue with Micha Mocha on page 81, just turn to a neighbor. Say Shabbat Shalom, introduce yourself. Say hi. Nice to meet you. Nice to see you again. Maybe there's someone in here who you haven't seen in a while. Got so many lovely faces in here this evening from all different parts of our community. Say Shabbat Shalom. Let's join together, page 81, Micha Mocha. Ata, Adonai, Gaal, Baruch, Ata, Adonai, Yisrael, Please join us, page 83, a song for Shabbat, V'Shamru. Shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam. Shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam. Beini uvein b'nei Yisrael, oti leolam, oti leolam. Neshamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam. Ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai et ha-shamayim ve'et ha'aretz. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam. Uvayom hashvi'i Shabbat vayinafash, Shabbat vayinafash, Shabbat vayinafash. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam. If you're able to stand, we'll invite you to turn to page 87 and rise as we begin our silent Amidah together. Adonai sefatai tiftach ufia ki tehilatecha. Eternal God, open my lips that my mouth may declare your glory.
We'll continue on page 183, Sim Shalom, a prayer asking God to give us peace, to give us goodness, to grant us blessings to us and all people around the world. Please join us.
Sim Shalom,
Sim Shalom,
Sim Shova, Uvracha, Sim Shalom, Tova, Uvracha, Sim Shalom,
Sim Shalom,
Tova, Uvracha, Sim Shalom, Tova, Uvracha. Chen v'chesed v'rachamim. Chen v'chesed v'rachamim. Sim Shalom,
Sim Shalom,
Tova, Uvracha, Sim Shalom, Tova, Uvracha. Aleinu, Le'al Kol Yisrael. Aleinu, Le'al Kol Yisrael. Amecha. Sim Shalom,
Sim Shalom,
Tova, Uvracha, Sim Shalom, Tova, Uvracha.
As we wish for peace to all those in our worlds who are able to experience it, we also send out blessings of healing to those in our lives who need a little bit of healing strength at this time. And so if there's anyone you're thinking of, we'll invite you to share their name out loud or just hold them in your hearts. We'll join together on page 239 as we offer Misha Berach together.
Misheberach Avotenu Mekor habracha Leimotenu. May the
This week's Torah portion contains the final 3 plagues. So the plagues that we recount every year at our Passover Seder, this is the final 3. It's locusts, darkness, death of the firstborn. Some pretty light stuff. These plagues are referred to as different things, though, throughout our time interacting with them or engaging with them in the text. They are referred to as a plague, as a magefa, like an affliction. They're referred to as marvels, moftim. They're referred to as wonders, niflaot. They're also referred to as a sign, ot, or signs, otot. Right? It's just a matter of perspective. Who's engaging with these? Who are they for? Are they helping? Are they harming? We have different terms for them because they're kind of all of them. Anyway, something interesting happens in between the final 2 plagues, in between darkness and death of the firstborn. There's the announcement of the final plague and the preparations needed by the Israelites to ensure that their houses get passed over by this plague. God says, and remember, this is between darkness and death of the firstborn. God says, "This month shall mark for you the beginning of the months. It shall be the first of the months of the year for you." The final plague occurs. Cries of the Egyptians ring out through all of Egypt, and the Israelites begin leaving Egypt, baking their breads in a hurry, and slowly making their way out to the wilderness. On their trek out of town, God gives them a few more commandments. It says, all male Israelite firstborns are from this day forward sanctified to God. Eat matzah on Passover. Recount the story of the Exodus to the next generation. Bring all male firstborn of kosher animals as sacrifices. Redeem all male firstborn donkeys for a sheep, which is going to be given to our priests, who don't even exist yet. It's very weird. Like, we don't even have priests, but like they show up in Leviticus. Whatever. God's foreshadowing. And don tefillin on your head and your arm. Wrap them as a sign on your arms and put them in between your eyes to mark this moment, right? So we have 7 mitzvot, 7 commandments. This month is going to be the beginning of the months, and then all the ones I just listed. So this whole mitzvot business is new and strange, and the Israelites, they're confused about all this, but they're like, sure. They're just making their way out. But this week, as I was rereading this portion, I was drawn to 2 things. The first being the fact that we receive 7 mitzvot. And 7 is a regularly occurring mystical number in Judaism that often shows up as like the end of a cycle, right? A cycle ends, it completes, and we start anew, right? Our weeks are 7 days. God created the world in 7 days. Then we start again. I don't know what to do with that, though. It was just something that I found interesting. So it's there. Now you have it, too. The second was the content, though, of the first commandment that we're given here and the 7th commandment that we're given here. The creation of a calendar and wearing tefillin. Creation of a calendar, wearing tefillin. So I have the unique privilege of being a man, and so I get stopped regularly by Chabad to wrap tefillin. Yes. Whenever they see me coming down the street, they say, "Oh, please, you want to perform a mitzvah?" It's rough. But in college, I took advantage of this opportunity by way of BLT, bagels, lox, tefillin. It was our college Chabad's attempt at getting our Jewish fraternity to wrap tefillin and fulfill a mitzvah. And so I'd wrap the leather straps around my arms, affix the box on my forehead, and I'd get a bagel as a reward. And I'd walk away feeling empty on the inside. Every time. And not just because I always feel hungry about 20 minutes after I eat a bagel, but they're just not filling. But the act of strapping my arm and my forehead with these leather straps, these phylacteries, it felt forced. And for me, deeply unspiritual. For me, wrapping tefillin is just one of those mitzvot that has just never, ever clicked. And I respect that so many find meaning from performing this act, fulfilling this obligation. But whenever I wrapped, I felt tied down, restricted, forced, almost as though I was back in the chains from which God freed us. And maybe that's the point, but I didn't like that feeling. Blame my reform, liberal, and progressive upbringing, but I've never felt commanded to perform mitzvot. Mostly for not wanting mitzvot to feel like a physical, emotional, and spiritual burden. Which is why, even though it's tucked away between the final two plagues of darkness and death of the firstborn, I so appreciate this first commandment that God offers us. This month shall mark for you the beginning of the months. The first of the months of the year for you. We're about to be free from 400 years of slavery that we've endured. Centuries of having to follow every instruction that the Egyptian taskmasters threw at us. We had no control over our own time. And here, God, ruler of the universe, saying, from now on, these months are yours to do with as you like. Make your schedule. Create your calendar. Mark Jewish time as you see fit. Mitzvot have traditionally been understood as holy obligations that God revealed to the Israelites in the desert at Sinai. Commandments that regulate adherence to the covenants between Jews and the divine. And yet I disagree with so much of this traditional definition, as the idea of commandedness feels so restrictive, coming from a God who at the burning bush just a few chapters earlier self-identifies, calls God's self by the name Ehyeh Asher Ehyeh. I will be what I will be. I choose to understand mitzvot and commandedness much less as coercion, as do this or else, and much more as persuasion. Try this. You might like it. I choose to interpret mitzvah as not a good deed or something that I'm obligated to fulfill, rather as this cosmic invitation to experience something new, something different, something outside of my comfort zone. Trying a practice or a ritual to see how it fits in my ever-evolving Jewish identity. Infusing that moment or regular practice with intentionality. What Jews have understood as mitzvot is really just a very human attempt at attuning ourselves to this process of discovery and rediscovery, in which we strive to learn how God works, how the universe works, and how we can best support those efforts during our time of existence. As the sage Morpheus once said, I can only show you the door. You are the one who has to walk through. Shabbat Shalom.
Please rise for Aleinu. We're skipping Aleinu tonight. Please rise for Kaddish. Forgive me. Page 292. Tonight we remember those who have died in recent days and weeks. John Aviaga, Beverly Trebo, Judy Rosenbaum, Rich Rogel, Tyree Nichols, and the 7 killed in Jerusalem. We recall those who died at this time in years past. We're thinking especially about Max Bellman, Eliana Burlfine, Sander Blum, Private Leo Davis, Jacqueline Betts Ellis, Daniel Finegood, Rachel Ray Finegood, Betty Fleshman, Minnie Glazer, Maxfield Gluckman, Evelyn Goldsmith, Richard Gordon, Joseph Grossman, Jerome Halper, Libby Halpern, Benjamin Kalmanson, Nancy Kirschberg, Faith Kortauer, Bella Kurtz, Bruce Levy, Anita Neves, Goldie Evelyn Niles, Ronnie Francesca Primus, Jerome Raskus, Lillian Roberts, Grace Robin, Jack Schiff, Stevie Sharesky, Bruce Siegel, Stephen Simon, Ida Trimer, Sydney Vender, Lester White, Marilyn Ruth Wolf. If there's another name you'd like to say for Kaddish, somebody you're remembering tonight, I invite you to please say that name out loud, or if you're on Zoom, please add it into the chat. Page 292, Kaddish Yatom. Yitkadal v'yitkadash.
Shemei Rabbah.
Amen. Be'alma divrach hiruteh
v'amlich malchuteh. B'chayachon uvyomechon. Chaye dechol beit Yisrael. Ba'agala uvizman karib v'imru.
Amen. Yehi shmei Rabbah mevarach le'olam olamei almaya.
Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei d'kudashah
Brichu.
Le'ela mikol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, da'amiran be'alma v'imru, amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya, l'chaim alenu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru, amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, alenu ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol Yishvei tevel, v'imru, amen.
Say shalom, biroma. Oh, say shalom, biroma. Hu
join us for Singing Jam on Wednesday. Consider joining us for the grossly inappropriate Purim performance that is coming up in March. If you'd like to participate in some way or another, let us know. It's my pleasure to call Sylvie back on up to lead us in Kiddush and Motzi.
Right.
Okay. It's this one, right?
Here, take the graph. What's yours?
Oh, wait, what do I do?
You can just hold it for now.
Oh, okay. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho be'ahava ratzon hinhilanu zikaron lema'aseh v'reshit ki hu yom tehila lemikra'e kodesh zeher litziat mitzrayim kivanu v'harta ve'otanu kidashta mikol ha'amim v'shabbat gad kodsheha be'ahva uvratzon hinhaltanu baruch atah Adonai mekadesh hashabbat.
Nicely done. And let us bless the loaf we have been provided. Challah. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz
V'te'avon.
Shabbat Shalom.
Oh, the harmony. It's a little too far up there.